Right now, without touching your skin, without even trying, think about the last time you got goosebumps. Maybe it was a horror movie jump scare. Maybe it was walking outside on a freezing morning. Maybe it was a song that hit different and suddenly your arms just reacted on their own without asking your permission. Here's the strange part. You have no fur. Not really. A few million microscopic hairs, sure, but nothing that could ever keep you warm, nothing that could ever make you look bigger or scarier to a predator. And yet your body still runs a reflex that was built for fur you don't have anymore. Every single goosebump on your arms right now is a message from an ancestor who died tens of thousands of years ago. And today we're going to find out what that message actually is. Let's start with what's physically happening under your skin, because it's stranger than most people realize. At the base of every hair follicle on your body, there's a tiny muscle. It's called the Arrector Pili muscle, and it's microscopic, but it's incredibly precise. When your brain sends a signal, that muscle contracts, and it physically pulls the hair follicle upright. The skin around it bunches up slightly, and that's the bump you feel. It's not random. It's not your skin malfunctioning. It's a controlled, deliberate muscle contraction happening thousands of times at once, all over your body, in under a second. Now here's the question that actually matters. Why would your body build an entire dedicated muscle system just to make hair stand up when most of us barely have any hair left to move? To answer that, we have to go back. Not thousands of years, millions. Your ancestors, before they were even close to modern humans, were covered in thick fur like almost every other mammal on Earth. And for a furry mammal, this reflex was not a glitch. It was survival equipment. Think about a cat when it's startled, fur standing straight up, back arched, looking twice its normal size in less than a second. That's the exact same muscle, the exact same reflex that you still have right now. For your ancestors, fluffing up mattered for two life or death reasons. The first was warmth. Fur traps air, and trapped air is a natural insulator. When it's cold, raising the fur creates a thicker layer of trapped air right against the skin, like a built-in jacket that inflates itself automatically. No thinking required. Just cold hits the skin, and the body responds instantly. The second reason is the one most people don't expect. Intimidation. When a threat appeared, a rival, a predator, anything dangerous, that same reflex fired. And a furry ancestor would suddenly look bigger, puffed up, more dangerous than it actually was. In the animal kingdom, looking bigger can be the difference between a predator backing off or a predator attacking. This wasn't decoration. This was a survival strategy running on autopilot faster than conscious thought could ever react. So somewhere around 2 to 3 million years ago, as your ancestors' bodies began changing, losing thick body hair to cool down more efficiently while running and hunting under the African sun, something interesting happened. The fur disappeared, but the muscle stayed. And this is where it gets genuinely fascinating, because evolution doesn't clean up after itself. It doesn't delete old code just because the original purpose is gone. The Arrector Pili muscles never got the memo that the fur was gone. They kept firing. Cold hits your skin, and thousands of tiny muscles still try to fluff up hair that barely exists anymore. It's like your body is still running software written for hardware that was removed a very long time ago. But here's what should really stop you for a second. Goosebumps don't just show up when you're cold. They show up during fear, during awe, during a song that gives you chills, during a moment in a movie that hits you emotionally, out of nowhere. Why would an ancient temperature and intimidation reflex fire off because of a piece of music? Scientists have looked closely at this, and the leading explanation connects straight back to that second function. Intimidation, but stretched into something more emotional. Fear and awe both activate your sympathetic nervous system, the same fight or flight system that would have triggered goosebumps in a genuinely dangerous ancient encounter. Your body isn't smart enough to know the difference between a real predator and a terrifying scene in a movie. Both trigger the same ancient alarm. The wiring is identical. Only the input has changed. And music might be triggering something even older and stranger. Some researchers believe intensely emotional moments, whether it's a swelling orchestra, a perfectly timed plot twist, or an overwhelming view from a mountaintop, tap into the same neural circuitry as raw, primal emotion. Your brain doesn't have a separate goosebump system for beauty. It's reusing the only system it has, one built millions of years ago for cold and danger, now firing off in response to art. Think about that for a second. When a song gives you chills, you are not experiencing something new. You're experiencing the exact same biological alarm your ancestors felt facing a predator on an open plain, just wearing a completely different disguise. There's one more piece of this that makes it even stranger. Goosebumps are almost universal across mammals. Cats, dogs, porcupines, even some primates all have this reflex, which means this isn't a uniquely human trait we developed. It's an ancient inheritance, older than humans themselves, passed down largely unchanged through millions of years of evolution, all the way from a furry ancestor we'd barely recognize. Straight into your skin, right now. In this exact moment. So the next time you feel that prickle up your arms, watching something intense, standing in the cold, hearing a song hit exactly the right note, you're not malfunctioning. You're not imagining it. You're feeling a reflex that once meant the difference between life and death for your ancestors. Fur that isn't there anymore, still trying to rise. A warning system that never got the update. A tiny physical echo of every ancestor who ever stood their ground against the cold, or against something far more dangerous. Your body remembers being furry, even though you never were. And honestly, that's the whole story of being human, isn't it? We carry pieces of a past we never personally lived through, written directly into our biology, showing up in moments we don't even choose. A chill down your spine isn't random. It's history, running live, right under your skin. This is Ancoria, and this is what it means to be human.